available here. Okay. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you all. Panelists here, except the boss notes. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Miro for providing us this pavilion for conducting this session of VTIH. I will not waste much time. I think it's more important to hear from you your interest, your motivation to promote climate action. It's very nice to have Clara here, who's a fellow with UNFCCC Secretariat with our team, who's going to moderate this session. So I'll invite her to introduce the panelists and get into fruitful discussions. So all the best to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me like that? For you in the back? Okay, great. First, I'm really pleased to be here with such an amazing panel. But I would actually give the mic to you to introduce yourselves, because I think you will give a much broader introduction than I could. But I know you all are doing an amazing work. Steph, would you like to start by introducing yourselves, and then we just pass the mic around?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Stephanie, please call me Steph. I'm a project lead with Youth and Environment Europe. Youth and Environment Europe is a pan-European youth-led environmental umbrella organization. We have 47 different youth-led organizations that are our members from 25 different countries across the Council of Europe. And I'm a project lead specifically for Sustain Aware, which is a project, I'll be talking more about it later, but we're working to enhance the capacity of other organizations, specifically youth-led in cross-sectoral climate action. So that's it.
Hi everyone, my name is Pooja Tilvawala. I run an organization called Youth Climate Collaborative. We're helping young people ages 35 and under get involved and remain involved in climate action. So we have programs on climate mental health, media training and storytelling, then a lot of community building, and we also have a tech platform called Jolly that's coming out soon. And this is not just for youth, it's for anyone. And it's for people to map their climate initiatives, provide some data on which SDGs they're advancing where, and to connect with funders and each other to advance their climate action.
So hello everyone, I'm Matinata President. First of all, I'm very thankful for the panel discussion. So I'm the president and the co-founder of the Psychology Club at UFAS University, and we are having lots of projects based on psychology, and soon in the future we'll have also the climate, the environment, like about the affection on the psychology of the human mind. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I am Samia Dumbuya. I'm from the UK and I'm a youth delegate. And something that I do in the UK is focusing on supporting young people and marginalised communities to feel confident enough to be a part of the just transition. And the way we do that is by facilitating conversations between local government and communities to hold climate assemblies. So I work a lot with local authorities and businesses to partner up to support people to shape climate policy on a local level, but we're actually advanced into national level. And I'm actually proud to say that the UK government has recently announced that they have a youth clause where they're actually supporting young people to support the shaping of the NDCs and the implementation of NDCs. And next year, I'll be launching the People's Arc, which is a partnership between different businesses such as renewable energy and construction to teach young people about green skills. And in the UK, we have a green skills shortage. So the People's Arc is supporting communities and young people to be a part of the just transition through technical skills, but also building communities so that young people understand that they are change makers in their own
Green Earth Foundation, which is a foundation of three key pillars. One is innovation, second is regeneration, and third is youth. And on youth is very extensively focused on and in higher education we look at undergrad till PhD, the entire spectrum. Primarily on trying mindset as well as a platform where the youth can have a voice to express themselves as well as a platform to engage with each other, whether it is their own peer network and the peer community or it is the larger ecosystem of policymakers, businesses and so with the larger ecosystem, they can connect with them and get the necessary exposure. And the last but not the least is a platform to create new ideas and translate those ideas into viable innovations and solutions. Because we very firmly believe move beyond activism towards action. So our youth agenda is primarily to get this thought very clear in the youth of India that we are moving beyond activism towards action and we are the bearers, torch bearers of climate action and show the way forward for the rest of the world. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Digital Innovation Pavilion. My name is Miroslav Polzer and I'm the founder and CEO of IAI Glotcher. It stands for International Association for the Advancement of Innovative Approaches to Global Challenges. Our organization believes that a global family, global community needs to function better. We need to connect the different stakeholders better. The existing systems of the national government's coordination in the United Nations system is important and necessary, but to really be more effective in global challenges responses, we need to have everyone engaged. And here, young people are especially inspiring and high potential, and we believe that it's the intergenerational cooperation also, which makes then things to really flow. It's youth perspectives, youth ideas are great, but if the elder generation and established organizations are adding the enabling resources, then we believe we can achieve together much better results, and therefore we are delighted to have you here. And we will do everything to support your work. And a big thank you to Sylvia and to you, to the UN Global Innovation Hub. They're doing great work. They really have this youth focus already for years. And we are proud that you are this year at our place to work on this topic.
Thanks, everyone. I think to kickstart our conversation, I'd like to talk about the communities that are being directly impacted by your initiatives. And I think that in all of your intros, you already mentioned a couple of the projects and initiatives that you're developing. But I guess to help others, what could you share from your experiences leading these projects? Either the ones that you have developed or participated before in your climate life. Maybe Gayatri, would you like to start? Thank you, Clara. So a big thanks to Sylvia, Nitin and the AGIH team as well for organizing this initiative and panel. So one thing which we are very passionately curating for last few years is a platform where the youth can come together and engage. And as I said, the first and foremost step is for them to believe in themselves, that we can make the change happen. So the first step to be a change maker needs one to really believe in their own abilities. So one part of our program absolutely focuses on that mindset shift. It's called Youth Leadership Program, where we are actually inculcating the necessary leadership skills among the youth so that when they grow up, they feel far more confident in who they are able to really deliver the results that they aim for themselves and can be the example for good. So that is the first thing, keeping their ethical and moral compass on. They should be leading a life which is worth inspiring others.
So that is the first initiative where we focus on that. The second program where we really focus on building the skills and educating the youth, that is on giving them necessary understanding on regeneration, conservation, preservation, different grade and undergrad student also taking up the similar course. The third initiative, as I said, is uh, working with UGI. Uh, Industry Academia Connect. So innovations that the third program that we run is on advocacy. That is like Loss and Damage Fund Council. What should be the stand of Climate Innovation Council was the second, and what exactly should be the position taken at the global level. And they have this. They also learn the skill of unanimously, confirming and. But here we are getting the young minds to develop the skill of building consensus as well as getting their voices across. And the most interesting part of this whole thing is that it gives them a 360-degree view of first building the right mindset, getting the education, innovating something to solve a problem, the critical thinking that it needs, and the last but not the least is to express and really be, the voice from the youth community in the global topics.
To share about practical and tangible impacts as well.
Because as it's about transformative climate action, I wanted to highlight the importance of culture, because we've had see it on the overview day for getting the big support of society for the implementation, which comes also with sacrifices, with deep changes to which human nature is normally resistant. We need to have cultural components in our toolset. And our organization, IAI Glotcha, we have a Global Challenges Youth Music Contest. And we've seen that this is something that resonates very, very positively with young people around the world. We've had our first edition in 2012 for the Rio Plus 20 Summit. And at that time, we had from China, I think from the 300 submissions that we've got, 50 from China and 50 from Africa and These are really young people that are otherwise not part of global community. But through music, they felt confident that they can express themselves, that they can inspire the world, they can connect with the world for global collaborative action. And this is a transformative action which I would like to share. We have added now for the COP26 in the context of the Action for Climate Empowerment program, also the component of digital art and NFT technology, because this helps us then to turn artwork into digital assets, which then can be traded, and so we can have an economic model behind social entrepreneurship model, so that this creative community engagement is providing also resources to those who are contributing, so that we are not give us your inspiration, give us the hard power, have revenues, have a livelihood, just adding this as an example.
Group that everyone takes for granted, which is climate, not the social. Giving the mic to the young people. So, for example, it's like getting young people to we have lots of city farms and workshops, and we asked them to lead us. Really excited to DJ for this space. Oh, I'm actually good at collage making, like vision boarding, and they took up the space. And then we had so many young people, so like those plot a session on the power of bees, and they use like the beeswax of bees to make and this year I've spent lots of time working with environmental charities across the UK to understand how do you get the best engagement from young people. And the research shows that young people just want a place where they have responsibility to take leadership. And it sounds really cliche, but I think the practice is not really fully common. We say, yeah, young people take leadership, but that actually looks like not controlling the meters or micromanaging young people, saying, hey, can you say this out of that? Can you do it like this? Space. And yeah, it's been really fun and exploratory this year to work with young people. And I've actually worked with young people that are actually climate skeptics as well. So in this work, I try to break out the echo chambers, because I think it's all well and good we design these programs, but we attract people that are just naturally nerdy about climate. When we want society to move with us, we need to talk to people who aren't interested in climate at all, nature. I worked with these young Somali boys who were like, oh, why do we care about the climate crisis? Like, I'm trying to get money, I need job security, I'm trying to support my family. And then I sat them down and we talked about food insecurity. I was like, what's your favorite meal? Did you know the ingredients from your favorite meal is actually going to become more expensive and more rare to access? And they'll think like, oh wow, I didn't make that connection. And then we talked about our family, like families back home on the African continent. We talked about increased global temperatures, how it's going to affect our communities and how it will erode our cultures and traditions. And they didn't connect those dots because the climate narrative in the Western mainstream space is very like European, about so future. They see it as, oh, you need to be a middle class person that lives in this are the goths. We always like paint visuals of the future. We're like, there's no emos, there's no goths. Where are the skaters? Do we want a future? It sounds so random, but I feel like every time we visualize a great future, we don't show that everyone's riding a bike, everyone's growing their own vegetables, which is amazing, but not everyone's going to do that. So how do we design green futures for a diverse range of people? Not everyone's going to have the same political compass. That's actually not realistic at all. How do we design futures that are acceptable for all kinds of people? The whole point is to keep global temperatures down and making sure people are living within the means of the Earth's resources. And diversity is beautiful. I think we should celebrate that and not shame people to be something else. So that's what we center our work on, is be who you are. We're centering care, we're centering well-being, and we want you to be prosperous whilst living within the resource capacity of the planet.
Yeah, sure. But next time I meet a climate skeptic, I'm gonna ask what their favorite meal is. I'm sure we can get our conversation going. But yeah, you haven't told us about the projects you're leading.
I just wanted to, I think on the community part, to build upon what the other three had already spoken, because I feel like what we do at YE is to try to bring these youth, and especially disenfranchised youth, to the institutions as well. So we try to institutionalize youth leadership and partnership. And I think something we've done pretty well. I don't know if any of you have heard about the Aarhus Convention. It's anchored in Geneva, and this is something that, for example, YE is one of the only youth groups, actually, the only youth group that is a stakeholder. So we go to all of the meetings. Clara has been on one of those meetings on our behalf as well. So that's a nice crossover as well. So we try to empower youth and to bring their voices and their vision as well into these spaces, making it a long-term and sustainable partnership and management, because it's not only about youth support, but also about youth leadership. And I think we do that in two levels. So the institutional, which would be the macro one, but we also do that in the micro, which is through our member organizations that are doing work, grassroots work in all of their countries, right? Because we being a network organization, we have a member organization in Azerbaijan, for example. We're not going to reach who we need to reach, but they do. And then we empower their work, and then we also give them visibility. So I think there is this trade-off, which is really cool. But I'm definitely going to steal that question as well for climate skeptics next time.
Amazing. And yeah, for sure, the example that Steph gave about the Aarhus Convention is something that I can personally speak about, because I feel like we come to conferences like COP, and that's kind of like the stock take that we make, you know, like, oh yeah, us from this youth organizations, we have done this, and that. But we're in the echo chamber, like Samia said, like we're just talking to a bubble, but the actual work happens outside when we go back to the communities, and then we really, I feel like empower has become a word like devoid of meaning. But like you said, they need to feel responsible for something. But it's not just about bees and flowers, right? So could you share some obstacles that you've encountered before that might resonate with not just the panelists, but with the audience? I'd like to start.
Okay, so there are several different obstacles. One is like linguistic barriers. So a lot of youth who want to participate, but may come from like a Portuguese speaking or French speaking or something country, don't feel, even if they know English, they can't express themselves as well in English as they could in their own language. That's one barrier. And there's also cultural barriers of communication. So, and time zone differences. So a lot of activities that are from abroad, London or US. And so it's hard to, you're staying up late or waking up early to access these opportunities. And then other obstacles for engagement, not like having reliable internet access or having power outages where you are. Like we'll be leading a group session and then one person is just coming in and out just because they can't help it. It keeps their power keeps going in and out. What are other barriers for engagement? Yeah. So I've seen organizations provide stipends for like reliable Wi-Fi, for example. Yeah. Oh yes, you have that program actually. Youth for Nature has a program to provide Wi-Fi support and sometimes like some tech support for like a phone or laptop to connect. Then other solutions, making sure that, let's say you're leading online programming or workshops, that you have people to lead it at different time zones so that it's more accessible. Working with organizations to translate your materials and resources to make it accessible. For example, there's the Youth Climate Justice Fund. I believe you can apply in like 7 different languages, which is, painful process, I guess, for them to, review all the applications in those different languages and then do the back and forth and translate everything so that the reviewers can understand everything equally and judge fairly, right? So it is more difficult, but it is more inclusive and accessible. And I'm hoping, we see other organizations make that sacrifice of difficulty for accessibility.
That's great. Does anyone else have obstacles and solutions?
If I may, because we are looking at systemic solutions to empower young people, and the key resource that is needed is funding. And we really, at the beginning of my organization, was sending the information that I've got. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, they have made the giving pledge. They're going to give back to society half of their wealth before they die, and more billionaires' families are signing up to this pledge. And I thought, wow, I've been in this universities field, I've worked on promotion of international scientific cooperation on behalf of the Austrian government, in cooperation with the Slovenian government. And I thought if we have now this pillar, science-based, knowledge-based approaches, systemic solutions, and then we are cooperating with the UN, which has the mandate, and with young people, so it's 100% sure we will get the money. But I'm now working on this since 15 years, and I never got really a big philanthropic grant. And it's also, as we are somehow working on this innovation front and not business as usual, we are even questioning the logic of nation states, and so it's also we don't have many friends among public funds to receive for our ideas. And so it's really this large-scale resource mobilization that's needed. That's a bottleneck, because there are so many young people, they come enthusiastic here to the COP, and then after several years, they've spent all their savings, they have had loans from their parents or from their friends and so on, and they go into a standard job. Because there's not enough money for young people who want to work on climate action, who want to work on the common good topic, to be well resourced. My vision is that those who work on this topic should have a very good life. And so this is the resource issue is something we are trying to address. And I have somehow the feeling that we are making progress. And we will see, perhaps at the next COP we can already report some positive development.
Yeah, just continuing on point of funding. The main obstacle is never continuous, it's never sustainable. You can have the greatest idea in the world that you think of the long-term impacts. We're all interested in sustainability and doing things for the long term, but funding processes don't match that. Funding lasts for 6 months to 1 year to 2 years. And then with young people, it's like, okay, we love this work, we want to keep it going, but the funding and now, and then we have to reapply. But then you're not always successful in getting that grant or loan again. So that's one of the obstacles that people have. And something that we're doing a lot in the UK now is partnering up with different civil society organizations and actually standing up to funders and say, hey, this is actually messed up. This is actually extractive, exploitative process, because we are clearly doing impactful work, but you want us to jump through several hoops to get access to that funding. And I'm part of Decolonizing Economics Collective, where we end up pulling like lots of money from public and private, and we actually redistribute the money ourselves because we realize that the money is not trickling down to people who are the community heroes. Because some funders like to prioritize people that have the biggest social engagement, media engagement platforms, and not every change maker is on social media. So we actually do lots of work on the ground, connecting with people that are doing amazing work. For example, there's this brilliant man called Claude. He's in his 60s. He bought a whole street for his community. And the reason why he did that was because he wanted people to practice community and self-efficiency. And he teaches young men in Leeds, which is in the north of England, how to build their communities, how to build homes. And he actually gives them tangible free skills. But the thing is, Claude does not have social media. He does not have a big platform. He's a man that's just about action. He hates talking. He's just like, pick up a brick and let him build a house. So that's the type of man he is. And with Decolonizing Economics, we address the fact that this is work. I think many people in our field tend to feel like, oh, we're doing this out of the goodness of our heart. Therefore, let's not think about the money. Let's think about the goodwill. And you actually end up burning out because you're juggling so many things. So with our collective funding, we actually redistribute money. So even just attending an event, we're like, hey, here's £200. Like, thank you for being in this space, because the networks is work. Like frame what labor is in our spaces, because many of us, I think, we're all naturally charitable people, and we like to give that has a long-term impact on not just our mental health, but the work that we give to our community exists in this space. And we're trying to figure out, how do we reframe the ways of working that isn't capitalistic? Because we're trying to dismantle capitalism, but we act like capitalists. How do we, for our communities, but for ourselves? How do we make sure our glasses and my mental health is in the gutter? It's not really nice to have those interactions. Sustainable example as well. I think that's something that's missing. So we have lots of back and forth conversations saying, what global citizen, how does that translate in our day-to-day? So many tools and mechanisms, such as like lots of festivals, for example, lots of retreats, so that people can see that this is what a sustainable future looks like. This is what we envision for the future. So yeah, I just really advise people that if you're about justice, liberation, and peace, see how that actually translates already in your day-to-day. Yes, we're not the most well-resourced space or community, but we can try with the things that we already have. And I think there's something really beautiful when you're historically marginalized. You kind of know what to do with so little. You could do so much with so little. So I really encourage people to
Thank you so much, Simi, especially for like normalize. We're drinking, I don't know how many coffees per day, and that on, and that's like how can we give our best if we're trapped in this I feel like we're hamsters when we're in these conferences, right?
I would say that it really helps, and people should really spend more time on nature with their friends, with their close ones, to help their own selves. Because in these days, like nowadays, lots of stress, lots of actions, lots of stuff is going on, like around us, and we are not really um, like taking ourselves in consideration and just thinking about especially crucial for your own work and all this stuff. And so that's why I believe.
Yeah, I wanted to come in and talk about mental health. So for YE, we started here realizing a project that focused on how we'd rather shift the talk and the narrative to eco emotions. Why? Because it's not only about anxiety. I feel like the triple planetary crisis that we're living right now conveys grief, sadness, people that are here. We're fighting for a better future, so we're here. So I hope we're all on the same page. Franchise grief, which was some theology meant. It wasn't me, it was a colleague from my organization. So disenfranchised grief not only looks in the long term, so for example, we are the ones that are going to be living the longest with the most dire consequences of this crisis. But we also have to talk about the loss, about ecosystems. Because we're going to see snow or skiing or to the beach. Maybe in 10, 15 years, that's not going to exist. Tradition, sorry, is going to have to change. So I feel like what youth-led organizations are doing, even though this topic is very